I'm joined here today by Jairzinho Rozenstruik, set to fight Andre Arlovski in a big fight at UFC 244. Thank you so much for joining me, man. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And of course,
Of course, man. We're glad to have you on the show. First things first, let's talk about this fight. Obviously, it's a big one. What was your reaction when the UFC came to you and they offered you this fight?
um, for us was like, for me and my team was like, okay, yes, we got a big opportunity, and the only thing we got to do is take it.
Were you surprised that this was the opponent that was next?
Yes and no, because you don't know who you're gonna get next. So soon as we hear the name, we sign the contract right away. And for us, it's a big opportunity, especially because I'm just joining the UFC. So
And what's the emotion like when you hear this name? I mean, are you excited? You mentioned you were surprised, but overall, are you more excited for this fight?
I mean, emotion is different. I don't have no reaction or emotion. Why? It's the job. It's my job, and soon as I know I'm gonna fight him, we went right into the training camp and make sure we're ready for this fight.
So does this fight feel like a bigger fight for you, or like you mentioned, it's your job, it doesn't really matter?
This is a big fight for me. I think, especially the place, also the opponent. Andre is a guy I used to see on my PlayStation, play with him. So for me, it's an honor to fight him also. So I'm gonna make a best of it, and yeah, we're gonna see it on the 2nd of November.
And Andre's been around for a very long time. Do you remember the first ever fight of his that you watched?
For real, I'm not watching the UFC that long, but I'm more play the game in the past, and I don't know. I don't know the very first fight I watched on Andre Arlovski like on television.
Okay, well, what UFC game were you playing? I mean, a lot of people, they say the best ever UFC game is the one that had the pride in it. I think it was the UFC Undisputed 3. Which game were you playing?
I played the first one and the second one. Yeah,
Have you played any of the newer ones?
not yet. I think it's not released yet. The last one.
I think UFC 3 is out. I think something like that.
It's out, so I have to check it out. I'm not on I'm not on a PlayStation lately, so more in the gym than on in the room. So that's why. But I'm gonna check it out for sure.
That makes sense, of course, with you being a professional athlete. I do want to ask you, I think you're currently in Miami. Why are you in Miami? Is this for your training camp?
Yes, it's for my training camp and for the experience. The level is higher in Miami, especially the wrestling part. And yeah, that's it.
And so, how did you get the connection from Miami? Did you know someone that invited you down, or did you call them up? How did that sort of happen?
I have friends here. My friend Tyron Spong lives here,
Ah,
and
okay.
I family live here also. So the management also is in Miami. So that's uh, that's how we just got here and set things up.
And you mentioned Tyrone Spong. I do want to ask you about a funny story that came out recently. They found out that his pet cougar was released. What did you think when you heard about that?
I think that's an old story. They bring it back up, but I think he had control of it. So I hope
Uh,
everything went good after all those noise.
but have you ever met his cougar before? I mean, did you know that he had one, or did you kind of just find out at the same time everybody else did?
I don't know. I don't know.
For sure, man.
That,
All right, so listen, you're currently in Miami. Who are you training with? I assume you're training with Tyrone Spong. Who else are you kind of training with in the gym?
I train at Hard Knocks, spar, wrestle, do my thing. I'm here with my coach from the Netherlands, so we set things up and we just do the job.
And so I assume being at Hard Knocks, you're training with Henri Hooft.
And we hope, yes.
And how has that been training with him? I know he's got a style that's a little bit different from everyone else.
Yeah, it's nice, but I have my standing coach also from Amsterdam, and we here together. Especially in the gym, you have a high level, so for us it's better to train with him, and especially we understand each other there better. So I choose for hard knocks and the hope. So that's it.
And did you notice a big difference when you came to train in America? I assume before you must have trained in the Netherlands or even in Suriname. Did you notice sort of a big difference when you came to train in the United States?
Yes, it is. The level is higher, as I mentioned earlier ago. The guys are more professional, have a lot of experience. So for me, it's better. So I get better, and every time I join the gym. So, and I'm happy with the guys around. So
And a lot of people they mention that in the United States there's a very high level of wrestling. It's very good for them. Have you experienced that yourself? The higher level of the wrestling?
yeah, it's good. It's okay. I'm keeping up, and I'm learning every day, getting better every day. So uh, that
And let's talk about your last fight a little bit. Obviously, it was a very quick one. I think it was the fastest knockout in heavyweight history in the UFC. How do you sort of look back at your performance in that fight?
uh, yeah, it's the second fastest knockout in UFC heavyweight history. Nah, nah, it went fast. I was sharp. He come forward. I saw him and caught him right away. Boom, and I finish it. And that's how it's supposed to be. As soon as I see him make a mistake, I have to take care of that. I follow up, and that was the fight.
And were you surprised that the opening was there so early? Because it looked like he kind of threw a strike and then he left his chin out there. Were you surprised that something happened like that so fast?
No, I wasn't surprised because I expect him to come forward like that because he wanted to do something, and I know he tried to do that. So he make the same punch, but I make a step back and weave my head and caught him right away with mine. So I saw the movement before he stepped in.
And what's it like when you finish a fight so early? I mean, is it as satisfying because you got the knockout, or is it a little bit frustrating? Some guys they prepare for a longer fight.
For me, it's better. Then I'm fresh, can fight another week again or faster. In this time, the UFC the decision was different because I have a fight right now. But if I have a fast fight, if I have a quick fight again, and the UFC wanna put me after 6 weeks or 4 weeks later, I'm in. So it was not frustrating. It was good for me,
And
especially especially it's a historic moment. So
of course, it makes a lot of sense. But you are fighting at UFC 244. It's a big pay per view. Obviously, you have the bad motherfucker title that's on the line with Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal. What did you kind of think of that fight?
I think it's a big show, and I'm glad I'm on that card, man. It's gonna be a big show, and I'm gonna enjoy everything of it, even my fight. So I'm excited to be there and do my game, and after join the fights, of course.
What did you think when they announced that they were making a special belt for this fight? I mean, what are your sort of opinions on this BMF belt?
Nah, I mean it's nice. Those guys deserve it. Nate is a long time in the game. Masvidal is just coming, and he have a good winning streak, and he's making a lot of sense. He have the fastest knockout in the UFC history, man. For me, it's fine. I'm glad for him. Maybe in the future I get something like that. It would be nice.
For sure. With this kind of fight against Andrei Arlovsky, what kind of fight are you expecting out there? Are you expecting something more technical, perhaps a brawl? What kind of fight are you expecting against him?
For real, I'm not expecting anything. Why I'm training myself on every point, every way. So doesn't matter how he come, I'm gonna be prepared and make sure I win this fight.
Okay, and I have one last question for you. How do you see yourself winning this fight?
Ah, I don't know. I just go in there and do my thing, see what he wanna do, and for me, if he make a mistake, I'm gonna do it. So I'm prepared. I train hard with professionals, so we're gonna be ready.
Of course, man. Well, we're looking forward to this fight. Obviously, it's going to be a great one, a great fight for you. Thanks so much for the time, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, and also I want to say something. People watching this, if you want to know my story, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. My name is Jairzinho Rozenstruik, Biggie Boy. Watch me if you want to know my story. All right.